So Lewis Steele of the Daily Mail writes, so narratives were skewed by results. So a 93rd minute goal line clearance from Federico Chiesa has probably saved Arne Slot another hammering from the fan base and trial by media in the next few days. But let's get this straight. That was another stinking performance from the Premier League champions. Whether Wilson Isidore converted that clear-cut last-gasp chance when he charged through on goal and seemingly had the freedom of Anfield, or even if Liverpool had sent the Kop into bedlam with a stoppage-time winner at the other end, that sentiment would remain. This is a team sleepwalking to a write-off season in the league at least. They're out of the title race. 11 points is too much for even serial chokers Arsenal to cede, but we'll take solace from the fact that they're only 2 points off 4th place Chelsea. So that's what Lewis Steele had to say. Chris Bascom in The Telegraph writes, not for the first time, Anfield could hail the most impressive recruitment team in the Premier League, take a bow Sunderland. Had they been in attendance, John W. Henry and his Moneyball disciples might have led the standing ovation for their well-earned point. Sunderland paid £155 million for 14 new players in the last transfer window, creating a vastly improved team that have come from the Championship to the fringes of a Champions League place. Liverpool, in contrast, paid £450 million to go from being champions to the most expensive work in progress since the Gaudi Cathedral in Barcelona. They certainly have no resemblance to the side who were building the foundation of their title success this time last year. For Arne Slot, the road to wherever this is all leading to is not yet taken. The most harrowing chapter of his management career is still to reach a definitive conclusion. Richard Jolly of The Independent writes, having shown too little ambition at the start and too much at the end, Liverpool were carved open by one ball forward from goalkeeper Robin Roos. Chasing a game they at least claimed a point from a losing position for the first time this season. Yet while they ended up with the first draw of the campaign, an unwillingness to settle for it almost cost them. Because really it was Sunderland who were denied victory. We had this opportunity to score the second goal, Ruud Regis Lebris, who went on to say that the score of the decider against Stamford Bridge a few weeks ago came close. And finally, the echo, the biggest cheerleaders and fanboys of the manager in this football club write this. The echo. Perhaps the most shocking thing about Liverpool's latest setback, and that is what a 1-1 draw home to Sunderland must be viewed as, was that this is no real shock at all. In fact, nothing in this most misshapen of seasons truly surprises anyone. So failure to beat an upwardly mobile Sunderland side, one who have shown no respect to reputations upon their return to the big time, should raise very few eyebrows. And that, at its core, is the most worrying aspect of all for Arne Slot, who saw his team fail to build on the semblance of normality that was provided by Sunday's 2-0 victory over West Ham. Just 4 wins in the last 14 fixtures across all competitions is cause for grave concern. The longer it continues, the more forlorn hopes of Champions League qualification become, and while it is not exactly out of sight right now, a continuation of this sort of sequence will have the European Cup and its accompanying riches drifting towards the horizon before long. Slot sent in Chiesa to join Hugo Ekitike for the closing stages, but a point was the sum of their efforts. In a season of recalibrated ambitions, it is hardly fatal to the Champions League hopes, but draws are simply defeats with better PR for a club like Liverpool. That last line is absolutely spot on. Draws are simply defeats with better PR for a club like Liverpool. Every one of those journalists knows what they're looking at is dross. You know what you're looking at is dross. The club know what they're looking at is dross. So why are they maintaining the status quo? I really can't figure it out. John said, was at the match last night with my 11-year-old daughter. For the first time, she was so excited, just terrible. Well, one, I'm sure it was a lovely father moment with your daughter, to bring your daughter there. So nice one on that, John. I'm delighted for you both on that. But I get it, man. I get it. You're not the first, and I dare say, mate, you won't be the last to say to me that you're disappointed in a scenario like that. So many people. I know people who've gotten tickets for the first time in 5, 6, 7 years who don't want to go or are dreading going to the game now. Chris has been at a lot of games this season. George has been at a lot of games this season, one of our regulars in the chat. A couple of others in our Discord group, our season ticket holders. They're all reporting back the same thing. They're all reporting back a discontent in the ground, a frustration at what they're seeing, and a real lack of fight and effort. And like I said, you and I can't change this. The club or the manager are the only two that can stop this situation. And the club at the moment seem unwilling to face the reality of it, which is that he's just lost out there. Giant Gift said, I think Slot is better than he's given credit for at the minute. He understands football better than all of us. Of course he does. I mean, that shouldn't be in debate. A coach at that level would absolutely understand football better than all of us. But is it not concerning to you, mate, that even the man that we've just given that credit to can't figure this out and still doesn't know how to defend long balls, still can't get her set pieces right, still doesn't know how to break down a low block or how to set up an attack to do it? It feels like he has one way of playing and that way is ineffective at the minute and it's just not changing. So, yeah, of course, there's no denying that he knows what he's at. He's a top-level coach, of course he does. But he's not fixing it. That's my point, he's just not fixing it. Hey Craig and chat, just when you thought we could start building a little bit of momentum off the back of the West Ham win, we're back to shite. Yep, back to shite. In the easiest run of fixtures of the season. Let's not forget that important part. Let's rewind back here a few weeks. We had Forest, PSV Eindhoven, West Ham, and then we had that game last night against Sunderland. And we were all talking about 4 wins, building back confidence, easiest run of games. Whooped by Forest, whooped by Eindhoven, beat probably the worst team or the second worst team in the league, West Ham, and then we're blessed to get a point last night and probably should have lost the game. Only for Fede and a bit of bad finishing. In the easiest run of fixtures. It is not going to get better than this. And he can't turn it around. That felt like a loss last night. This from Tipperary is spot on. I haven't seen this fan reaction since Hodgson. Exactly. So Chris said something similar earlier on. He was talking about the Rafa days, the Hodgson days. They all had an excuse of at least they had Hicks and Gillette as owners. The club didn't have the money. They didn't have the ability, particularly for Hodgson, to go out there and bring in any type of decent players. The club were in a rut. Jurgen fixed that. The owners fixed that. They got us to the top of the mountain. And we thought we were destined for more of that with Arna. And somehow, for some reason this year, it's unravelling. And it's unravelling at a scary pace. Bad form is like an illness. It spreads. Canada's issues are starting to rub off on Virgil. Defo. It does. And then you second guess everything. And you take that extra touch. You think a bit longer. Everything becomes a little bit more difficult. Things that are happening naturally suddenly don't. I couldn't agree more. It is like an illness is a really good way of putting it, mate.